Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bruderhof YouTube channel. No Doreen this week. It's been a fairly full week, but we hope to be back next week. Hopefully everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. We certainly did here. We really celebrated and enjoyed one another's company. But now we're turning to Advent, and on Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent, which we celebrate here with a lot of joy with everybody from the babies on up to the oldest people in our community. We gather first thing Sunday morning for an Advent breakfast where we eat together, celebrate together, read the Christmas prophecies, and begin to turn our hearts to this most special time of the year. And this is kind of what I want to focus on today in today's video. How do we make the most of this season? How do we not let it just pass us by? It's an interesting season, right? Because everywhere we go, we're bombarded or surrounded, put it more positively, with the sounds and sights of Christmas, the nonstop Christmas carols, Christmas music on the radio or in the shopping centers, and of course all the decorations. It's all very joyful, but I think it's really important in the words of Jörg Zink, who was a German theologian, that we take time to allow something to happen inside of us in this season. And we can do that in a number of different ways. We can do that by finding times of quiet, either in the morning or in the evening, but also in times of gathering with other believers to really talk about what does it mean for us that God sent Jesus to the earth. One collection of writings that I would like to recommend, which comes from our very own Plough Publishing House, is a beautiful little anthology called Watch for the Light, and it has readings for Advent, and that's a great way to help us to focus. I just would like to mention a few of the writings that are in there. We have a piece by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the Protestant pastor, the Lutheran pastor who was killed by the Nazis, and he writes about how remarkable it is that we so often face the coming of God at Christmas so calmly, and how this coming should actually really challenge us and should, in a way, terrify us or put us on the edge of our seats, because that coming means judgment for the earth. And it's only when we felt the terror of this matter that we can recognize the kindness of God in sending Jesus and in bringing light into our hearts and through grace, through forgiveness. And he also writes about how Jesus stands at the door and knocks today in complete reality. If we reflect on the words of Matthew 25, he's there in any person that we meet. This is what he tells us. And this should really help make us think and urge us to action. Are we doing those deeds? And in so doing them to Jesus. Another author who has a piece in there is Alfred Delp, also he's a Jesuit, a priest, also martyred under the National Socialist government. And he writes about how Advent is a time to really recognize the false confidence and the delusional security we often live in. These are ultimately false confidences and a false security. And Advent is really a time to let all of that go and to awaken to the reality that we are helpless and wretched. And in that coming to, we can begin to sense what it means that God came for us to save us. So, and then Oscar Romero, an El Salvadoran Catholic archbishop who spoke up on behalf of the poor in the face of great opposition in his government, was also killed. He writes about how in this season of Advent we need to feel our own emptiness, and he reflects on the Beatitudes, on what it means to be poor, also on the Magnificat of Mary, who talks about how the poor have been lifted up and the rich have been sent away empty-handed, and he sees this as meaning a poverty of heart, a poverty of spirit, and how we need to abandon that and leave that and turn instead to God who can fill us. So I would really recommend to anyone in this season to really take that time with readings like these or through reading Scripture. And that's what we're going to be doing here on the Bruderhof as we look forward to that very joyful day, December 25th, when we once again celebrate the birth of Jesus and celebrate in anticipation of him coming to this earth again. So anyway, we'll see you next week. Hopefully Doreen is back and we can talk about some other Christmas-related business. But until then, take care of yourselves and happy Advent.